The following stories are based on personal experiences and opinions. Names and details may be changed to protect privacy. The content is for entertainment purposes only.
Drama, betrayal, and the stories you won't believe.
Welcome to our X-Files.
Hi friends, welcome back. And if you're new here, I'm so excited to have you. Both Elise and I are actually very excited to have you. Today, I'm just so excited to hear Elise's story, which I have no idea what she's going to share. So Elise, why don't you go ahead?
So basically, I feel like this is a story of my life, which is looking back and seeing all these red flags that I wanted to ignore, or maybe I just didn't want to see them. So this is about another one of my exes. That was a liar.
Most of them were.
Yep, pretty much all of them. And for the longest time, I thought something was just off with him, right? I wasn't really sure what it was, but yep, there were long bathroom breaks.
What?
I know, it sounds weird, but you'll understand what I'm talking about when I get to what happened here.
Okay.
We'd be watching a movie and he'd be gone for like 20 minutes at a time, and I'd be like, where's he going?
Yeah.
And I used to tell myself, oh, maybe he has like IBS, or maybe it was just his nerves, stress, anxiety, maybe something to do with his job. I don't know. I'd always tell myself these little stories in my head. And oftentimes I think that's what we do as women. We just tell ourselves a story to justify the behavior that's happening.
Right.
Because when you love someone, you'll convince yourself of anything that helps you believe that that's the best situation or scenario, right?
For sure.
Okay. Well, the truth was, those weren't nerves. Those were secrets. And one night when he was at work, I finally found out what he had been doing.
Stop it. I can't wait to hear this. Okay.
It's bad. Okay, so I wasn't even snooping. I was just home alone, and I was using his laptop for work on the couch while I was just hanging out in the living room with our dogs. Mm-hmm. And there was this random folder that I'd never seen on the laptop before. It didn't really scream, "Don't open me," but just out of curiosity, of course, I wanted to open it because, there's this folder there, and I hadn't seen it before.
What is that?
Well, it was random pictures of porn.
A porn?
Of porn. Of sexy women, naked photos.
No.
Yeah, graphic images, all downloaded and saved on his computer.
No.
Yeah, it was like a collection.
Oh my God, gross.
I know. And the worst part about it, it was like the same girl over and over, but different photos. So then I'm like, what is this? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. Sorry, I feel like my heart like races talking about
I'm starting to have my heart race too. I'm like, who
so
is she?
Breath, this is why. I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah, I just sat there. I was like staring at the screen. I had felt like someone had punched me in the stomach just because I couldn't believe it was real.
Yeah.
But something inside me just wouldn't stop there. So once that door opened, I couldn't just close it. So I kept on snooping on his computer, of course.
Yeah.
And that's when I found all of his online accounts. He had profiles on adult chat sites. Yes, multiple ones. And I'm talking, well, it's been years, so I don't know exactly how I found out these sites, but probably I looked up his history, and then I'm sure probably the password just maybe saved on these sites or something. I don't know how I got in.
So you were able to log in?
I was able to log in to these accounts.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yep. And I honestly didn't even know that these type of porn sites existed.
Yeah.
I mean,
I didn't know you could log into a porn site either.
Okay, well, you're learning something new today.
Okay.
And so it's not people just watching porn. It's like, honestly, like live interaction, chat sites, kind of like text messaging, FaceTiming, all of this on these online accounts.
So you're interacting with the person at this live or something?
Yes. So it's basically like you log on to this adult porn site. It's like secure with the password. You have to pay for it. Mm-hmm. Of course. And then you're interacting with live people through this website.
Oh my God.
So they'll be like, for this many coins or whatever, for this much money, you get this many tokens. For this, you'll get this.
Whoa.
I know.
I had no clue that even, like to this day, like today, I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, it's a thing.
So, and I think I know what story you were telling, but I didn't know it was like that.
Oh yeah, it's like that. Haven't really told this story very often because I think a lot of times maybe it's just really hard for me to go back and relive, because it's really hard when you love somebody and when you find out they're addicted to porn, but it's to that level. It's not just watching porn. I mean, I get couples do that, not that I'm saying I am for it or against it, but this is like a different level.
Yeah, that's really bad. Like really bad addiction.
Mm-hmm. And I remember scrolling through like all of his messages and things that he had said. Tears are just rolling down my face. I really couldn't believe it, because it wasn't even that they were strangers. They would have times that they were going to meet again. And there was pictures of him.
No. Like he would send naked pictures of himself? Oh my God.
I know. Naked pictures of him, naked pictures of her, everything in these this chat room. It's like kind of like basically like a text message strand. I would kind of, it was kind of similar setup.
Yeah.
And you could go back and read and see
everything.
Yeah.
Oh
everything.
my God. That's terrible.
Yeah, so I know people sometimes say, oh, it's just porn, but this was not just porn. It was like really intimate.
Yeah.
And he didn't really need to meet someone for that to be considered cheating.
Well, no, not at all.
I know.
God, my God, this is crazy.
I know. And then suddenly all these pieces clicked, like the long bathroom breaks, the random mood swings, the distance, in our, intimate relationship.
Yeah.
Him being lazy around the house. He was kind of checked out of our relationship. And I would always say, oh, it's because he worked nights, he was tired, and things like that. But no, it turned out to be that he was addicted to porn.
And had several relationships with people online.
Yeah, so he would just have, times that he was going to go meet up with these chicks in the bathroom. So he'd have to leave to go do that.
Were these people like locals too?
I have no idea.
Or was it just did he ever meet him in person?
I still, till this day, I don't know. And it's weird because I probably should have gotten more answers. But I think that I was just so devastated. And I really couldn't even ask the questions. I was just done. I had to just leave that relationship.
Yeah.
How did you? You look like you're in shock.
I am in shock. How did you confront him? Like, how'd this happen? Like, what went down?
Well, he was at work at that time, and so I didn't want to confront him. But when he got home, I did confront him, and he downplayed it. He acted like it wasn't that big of a deal. But I had seen all the proof. It was all there. He just tried to lie to me. I mean, there was always a story. There's always a story. Guys always have a story. But I didn't believe him. And I told him I was done.
Yeah.
Because I could not forgive that. That was real life. In my mind, that's just like having basically like a long distance relationship with someone. Although they were strangers, maybe they had met, maybe they had not. I don't think so. But in my mind, it's basically like having a long distance relationship with someone, right?
Yeah. It's like deceit. It's dishonesty. He was hiding shit from you, and he hid it that well for that long.
Yeah. And honestly, I feel like when you're dating someone or married to someone that has a porn addiction, it really messes with your self-esteem, your self-confidence. I just remember him being very distant and me thinking something's wrong with me. Why isn't he into me anymore? Am I ugly? Am I fat? All the things that women think in their mind. It's always like something wrong with me. And I just didn't feel like I was enough. And it wasn't me. It had nothing to do with me. It was what he was doing in his behaviors.
Exactly.
Yes.
I wonder if he had to have been like that before you. He's been like this all along. Because he knew like that existed. How far into the relationship was it until you found this out?
I would say it was 2 years.
Okay. Holy shit. So for 2 years, he did long bathroom breaks, had ups and downs with his mood, would be gone in movies, like mysteriously just like gone. You were like, oh, he has IBS or something's going on. Or maybe like he ate something bad, it has the shits.
Yeah, for 2 years. I mean,
and then his intimacy wouldn't be like the same as it was when you started dating or what?
Yeah, I mean, it slowly went down. It was really interesting. I mean, I think in the beginning, I don't know. I do remember a couple times in our relationship where he'd have like porn on in the background. And at first I didn't think really anything of it. Although I guess I had really never dated someone that kind of was into porn. Mm-hmm. But I thought, oh, maybe this is just kind of kinky. Maybe this is what he's into.
This is his thing.
Yeah. I'm like, fine, no big deal.
Yeah.
But come to find out, that was probably just what was turning him on.
Yeah. Holy crap.
I know some of these details I haven't really relived for a long time. But then us doing this podcast, I had to dig deep into there and relive this. So that's probably why I'm like a little stressed out.
Well, and you know what? There's probably a lot of people. I mean, porn addiction is huge. I mean, even in church, they talk about it. It's one of the most highly addicted things people, especially men, have an issue with and struggle with, and it affects the marriage. I mean, it is cheating.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people don't realize that when you're watching porn and then you get addicted to porn, it really does affect your relationship, but also the intimacy within your relationship.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah.
So it was really hard I couldn't forgive him for that because I mean, that was like a full on relationship with, these fantasy women.
Yeah. Talking to them, being intimate with the words and pictures and details and things like that.
I know. And reading through the messages that he was having with these women, saying that he wasn't in a relationship with anyone, acting like he was single.
Emotional affair is what he was doing with people.
Absolutely.
Wow.
I know you look in shock. I never.
I am
these
so.
details.
I mean,
I'm so sorry.
I did know a lot, but I didn't know that it was. Maybe I forgot it. Maybe I blocked that part out because I remember talking to your sister about it too. I remember talking to you, and I think I was just so shocked, just like I am now, because it's just so wild.
I know, and a lot of times I think that I don't share a lot of details about my past with anybody because I'm still trying to protect that person, or maybe I just don't want to think about it again. But maybe I didn't share all the details of how I found out because maybe I wanted to protect him at the time.
Yeah.
Or protect myself for that matter. I didn't want to get, face reality of what I'd really seen.
Right. Yeah, that's pretty awful and a huge slap in your face. Would it have been different if he had come to you and said, hey, I've been struggling and here's what I'm struggling with? Would you have stayed?
Well, I always say I can't predict what I would have done, right? You can't relive the past, but I do know that for me, I'm like ride or die. And so when I'm with somebody, I am with that person. So had he come to me and say, listen, I have a problem. I have a porn addiction. I'm sorry, I wasn't honest with you about it first. I believe in my heart that is something that I would have worked through. Because, it is a real problem, right? If you have an addiction.
Yeah.
But because he lied to me and because for so many years he was just doing this behind my back and basically cheating on me, in my opinion,
100%.
with these women.
Yeah.
That was something I can't forgive. So I can't forgive somebody that lies.
Yes, that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lying.
Because my trust was broken and that was something I couldn't forgive.
Yeah.
But I am always a forgiving person. So if somebody comes to me and says, I have a problem, can you help me? Yes, I am going to be by your side. I'm going to work through it with you.
Yep.
But he didn't do that.
No, he did not.
So I guess the lesson here, if you're somebody that's struggling with addiction or having issues in your own relationship, maybe you need to just come clean with the person that you're with because it's better for them to hear it from you directly than for them to find out and be betrayed.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's unforgivable oftentimes.
Totally unforgivable. No one can work through that because you also can't forget. So let's say, you find out or someone were to find out, like if you're living in this type of situation right now, you find out some bad news or something you didn't know and you didn't find out from him or her, whoever you're dating, and trying to move forward, you're always going to second guess every single thing, whether it's honest or not, because they never came clean first.
Yeah, and every time he'd go to the bathroom, I was like, oh, great, he's going to talk to one of his girls.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. That would be in your
my
mind.
And then obviously, then I want to stalk his phone. I want to look at his computer. I want to track every single
it'd be an
history.
obsession for you to make sure he's like being truthful.
Yeah, and it's just unhealthy for me to live that way of, stalking his every move. I couldn't live like that.
Yeah, that would be terrible.
I know. So that is why I had to leave that relationship. I walked away from it, not because I stopped loving him, but because I had to start loving myself again. And in that relationship, I really felt like nothing.
Yeah.
And so I had no self-confidence. And then seeing all of that was devastating.
Right.
So to anyone who's ever loved someone with porn addiction, who's questioned their worth because of it, I see you, and you're not unlovable. You're not crazy. You're not broken. You deserve a real connection, real intimacy, and love that doesn't hide behind a screen.
Ooh, I love that. Absolutely. You deserve real love, raw love, emotional love, honest love. Like lies you can't just move past.
No, those lies I could not forgive.
Yeah. Run from it if you're hearing this.
Yes. Run.
And if you're the person doing it, like come clean. Save yourself and your marriage or your relationship if you can. If it's not too late.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, Kristina, tell us. What are you going to talk to us about today?
So what I'm going to share is, I talked to my therapist because I am sharing stories of my husband's ex-wife, which, he had 2 kids with. Those 2 kids know about the podcast and they have their feelings about it. Obviously, it's natural to feel protective. It's natural to not like it. And it's natural to not see and understand like the vision of it and the purpose for it, with me sharing my personal experience of a blended family and what came with it. So my entire point and what I have to say, to honor them is basically, just this isn't to rehash any old wounds. It's to reach the person out there who's living what I went through right now. It's for the person who needs to know that they're not crazy and that they will get through it, because every single time I went through something and every single time I faced a challenge, I didn't think that we were going to get through it until we got through it and then we got stronger. So everyone at this point, we're 20 years married. Everyone at this point is adults. The kids, everyone at this point has hopefully healed on the other side. Hopefully, made progress. Hopefully is not the same person, same, as me. I'm not the same person I was. So in sharing these stories, it's only specifically not to harm or hurt anyone. It is to help, the person going through the relationship aspect that, you know, blended families and dynamics carry with it, to be the voice that I didn't have back when I needed one.
Yeah, and to give people hope that even though they're going through a hard time right now, that there is, you know, be a light at the end of the tunnel for them, or that there is going to be a better future. Because like you said, when you were going through it, you didn't know if you were going to get out of it or you guys were going to make it out together.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, and then the more that they happened, the more I questioned how long I wanted to stay. And there's also so many times where I could have left and said, you know, this is just too much. I want out. You know, I can't deal with that. Or,
and you didn't, though, because you loved your husband. You still love him, obviously. And you love his kids.
Loved. Yeah. Totally love them. Love them so much. And a lot of times, you know, the second marriage, like from a blended family, there's a 70% chance of divorce when there's already like a 50% of your first marriage being a divorce. The second marriage being blended is a 70%. The fact that we've made it 20 years means we're in the 10th percentile, which is so rare. And so it means I did something right. It means that he and I did something right. And if I can share that and help others get to that point, like, of course I'm going to do that. And that might be raw, but it's not the same as it is today.
You're just sharing your experiences of what you've been through and how you got stronger from it. And it's all from your point of view. So they might have experienced it differently than you did, or you might have shielded them from a lot of these things that were happening to protect them. So maybe they don't even know all of these stories that you're sharing.
I highly doubt any of them, when they hear these, if they hear them, ever even know about them. Because even when the kids were growing up, they'd say, do you love my mom? I would always say, I love your mom so much. And even prayers before bed, I would include their mom, you know, in the prayer. I would always, and their mom's mom, you know, if there's a surgery or if anything was happening, I'd always pray over them. Like, no matter what. They never knew that I had faced many obstacles, you know, like deep ones anyways.
Yeah, they probably never had a clue what was really going on.
Yeah. So now that everyone's older, I can talk about it and help people, you know, not get divorced and not love the kids differently because you don't care for the mom right now. Okay. So my story today is, I don't know why my stories always seem to be medical right now, but they are. Like my first two were, this one isn't a medical issue. It involves a medical insurance type of situation. So what would you do if your insurance company called you and said someone had been logging into your medical account for 8 years? Like, what would you do?
I would freak out because I've had identity theft before and I'd be like, what is happening?
Yeah. And I mean, it went on for 8 years pretending to be you. My social security was being used. My name was being used. And someone was living inside my private life, obviously online. They were reading all my medical records, my husband's, because everything's linked, right? On my medical insurance card. Mm-hmm. And I never even thought about this, but if you have a medical insurance card and you know someone's social security number, there you go. Like, you can create an account. You could create an account like as a family on there, claim the people on there, and you can look up every single medical record, prescription, nurse notes, everything.
Well, that's scary.
Yeah. It should be on the news, really, because I mean, that is an easy way to commit fraud, identity fraud, right? Like, you could easily just grab someone's medical card and just be like, oh, I know their social security, or look it up. If you were married to him before, you could really find out some stuff. So here's my advice if you do that. Like, don't. Just don't. So it started like out as an ordinary like afternoon. I was at home. I was like half distracted, multitasking like always. My phone rang and the caller ID said Regents, which was our insurance at the time. I almost didn't answer because I'm like, why are they calling? And we don't have any claims. I didn't call them like asking any questions about coverage. But something inside me said, pick it up. So I did. I was like, hello? And the woman on the other end introduced herself as a case manager. And I was like, oh, this is weird. Her tone was like really calm but firm. And she's the kind of voice, it's like the kind of voice people use when they're about to tell you something that's going to change like the way you see the world. So, you know, like, I'm like, okay, what's going on?
What is about to happen right now?
She asked, Mrs. Edwards, do you have an online account with Regents? And I'm like, no, because I never created one. I didn't even think to. She was like, so do you have an online account with Regents? And I was like, no. And she goes, okay. And there was a long pause, like, and I heard her like moving paper around. And she said, she said really quiet, that's what we thought. And I was like, what the freak? So then she explained that someone had been logging into my account for years and using my social security number, my date of birth, and my full name. And this person had 8 years of access. And they had read everything, like my lab results, my children's pediatric visits, my husband's sleep study notes, every detail of our medical lives. Then she said something that froze me. Well, we had a feeling it wasn't you. We've been watching the activity for a few months. She sent me a report to my email, and it was 150 pages long, and it detailed timestamps and like downloads that were done and login locations and IP addresses. And the hours and hours of sessions where someone sat at the computer combing through my private records and my kids's and my husband's. And some sessions were up to 8 hours at a time. Like,
wow,
of mouse movement. Like, they can track like how much movement's happening or if it's just like on idle. So, and when I saw the email address attached to the account that this person had logged in with, I didn't have to guess. I knew exactly who it was. Like, my stomach dropped. It was someone, you know, from my past now, but present then, who had always seemed to know too much. She always was like the type of person that smiled when she already knew what you were about to say. I remember one time I was at a soccer game. I told my husband that I was pregnant, like, because I hardly ever saw her, so she was there. And I told her I was pregnant. She goes, "Oh, I know. The wife just told me." And I was like, "What?" Because she was there at the soccer game too. And she went up and said hi to her because they used to be. And she's like, "She just told me." And I was like, "What the freak?" And of course, me and my husband haven't told anyone besides like my mom at that point. And I was like, how the heck did she know that? The boys didn't know that. Nobody knew that. So she was like, "She just told me." Everything, like when the Regents and I saw the paperwork, everything started to make sense.
Like all of these memories were popping in your mind and you're like, oh, that's exactly how she knew.
Yeah, that's how she knew. And then one time I was on the phone with and she asked me, it was when we used to be able to talk on the phone before like attorneys got involved and we never talked on the phone again. It was like, or how's your husband's sleep apnea? And I was like, that's fucking weird, right? Well, number one, he didn't used to have it. He was recently diagnosed with it. But how do you know that?
Yeah, like how did she know that your husband had sleep apnea if no one even told her? I'm sure no one's keeping her up to date with his new medical issues that are coming in to play here.
Yeah, and it was almost like a tactic like, hey, I know he does because, I mean, I don't know if it was like she was trying to get in my head like, I know he's, because I was sleeping next to him recently, or I don't know what it was. But she'd always do that kind of weird shit, you know? So I was like, oh, she's probably just whatever. All these like things came up about how she knew I was pregnant before anyone else did, how my husband's sleep apnea was a thing before he even got a machine. Like the kids didn't know, no one knew about that. He got a machine later. And I mean, she knew everything and brought it up before we could even tell anybody. And I was always like, how does she know everything? And it's almost like she wanted me to doubt that someone wasn't being secret, you know, like it was a thing between me and my husband trying to break us apart or something. So, and obviously that didn't happen, but that was probably her plan looking back, you know.
Yeah, she was just like planting these little seeds of doubt in your mind, like, how does she know that?
Yeah,
because
exactly.
You wouldn't know how she knew that because at that point in time, you didn't know anyone was logging into your accounts.
Like, how the hell do you know all this? Like, how do you know everything? Medical wise anyways, right? So, she even brought up my husband's prescriptions in like a casual conversation at one point, and I was like, what? But she always seemed to anticipate like every move we made, not kidding. And I was always like, you know, this chick is like a psychic. She's either that or spying, like whatever. But the insurance company, when they found out that it wasn't me, they wanted to escalate it immediately as a HIPAA breach, and they referred it to the fraud division. What she had done wasn't just invasive, it was criminal actually. So it's identity theft, medical fraud, breach of federal privacy law. So of course lawyers got involved, investigations were launched, and in the end, while she didn't end up like serving time, because I personally ended up dropping all the charges, because I didn't want to see her go to prison or anything or have to pay, I think it was like X amount of money. I dropped everything. She did have to walk into court stripped of her power and exposed and embarrassed and like fully aware that the truth had finally caught up to her. I mean, can you imagine walking into a courtroom where you're caught, you know, after pretending to be someone for 8 years, and not just me, but Regents and like I mean, that's a huge corporate company.
Yeah, absolutely. That is a huge breach of your identity. I mean, someone logging in as you for 8 years, getting all of your medical records.
Yeah, and it's not just against me as a person or my husband and my kids. It was also against the law with Regents. And it was up to me because it was under my name. So it was all up to me whether I wanted her serve time and pay a fee, but I showed up at that case because I was like, how dare you? Like, those are my children. That's my husband and that's me. Like, why would you do that for 8 years?
Yeah, like, why are you
doing this?
Yeah, it does not make sense.
Yeah. But me being the person I am and loving those boys so much, I didn't want them to suffer. And I dropped it completely. And I told Regents they could drop it, even though I had every right to keep going with it. I knew that she's always had, back then, an obsession with our lives. Clearly, right? And for years, she had played like a puppet master, basically behind the keyboard. And on one phone call, it all came crashing down. Like I learned everything within that one phone call. Everything made sense. Or the lesson that I took away from all of that is this story isn't just about identity theft. It's about the illusion of control. People can wear masks for years, pretending they're harmless, pretending they've moved on, or that they were the victim, or that people are not nice to them and people are mean to them and they're the single mom or the single dad and they just need help. But obsession always leaks out. And no matter how careful someone thinks they are, digital footprints do tell the truth, just like in your case. Marriage, family, and trust, those are what's sacred. So you need to protect yourself, protect your name, protect your peace, because love can forgive many things, just like I did. But ignoring can cost you everything. When you see something and you know something is wrong and you feel like someone is always knowing everything that's going on, don't ever second guess your intuition. Just know that it likely is happening just like what you knew with your case. Always thinking something, this is weird, right?
Yeah, but I didn't investigate it. I just, I made up a story in my mind of why it was happening.
Yeah, and so did I. I was like, oh, that's weird. Maybe this, maybe that, right? Mm-hmm. But in the end, the truth does come out.
Yeah, it always does.
And the lesson that both of us, I think, for sure can take away, and so can our listeners, is that you aren't crazy for thinking all these things. You're not crazy for thinking people are psychic,
Right?
Yeah. You're not crazy for thinking someone may have IBS, or their intentions are always good. You're not crazy for thinking people might have obsessions,
Well, the one thing I was crazy for is that I didn't just ask the question. For whatever reason, I was too nervous to just ask the question. Like, I didn't want him to feel embarrassed. So I never asked, do you have IBS?
Yeah.
I literally never did.
Yeah.
I never said, is everything okay with you? You seem to be in the bathroom a lot.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't want to embarrass him if he did have a problem. So I wanted to protect him. So I didn't even ask, which, looking back, again, I do feel like I'm crazy for that.
It's so crazy. You know why? Because looking back, I could ask the same thing. How'd you know that?
Yeah, it's like, why don't we ask these questions?
Right.
Because maybe I could have found out the answer then. Maybe that would have opened the door for him to tell me, hey, I have a porn addiction.
Yeah.
I don't have IBS. I'm actually, maybe that would have helped him come clean with me had I just asked questions.
Yeah.
But for some reason, I didn't want to ask the questions.
Yeah.
And I think that is another lesson that I've learned, nowadays.
Yeah.
If I have something on my mind, maybe people think I'm very outspoken or I have no filter, but it's because I have not asked questions in the past, and now I am going to ask questions.
Yeah, you learn to ask those hard questions, or the awkward ones.
Yeah, even if I don't want to know the answer, I'm asking.
You're going to get it. Yeah, you have to get the answer. You can't be left dumbfounded and how do they always know? Or how is this always happening? You know?
I think it's important just to ask hard questions, especially if you're curious, because you just never know. The answer is something that you may or may not want to hear.
Yeah.
But it's important that you ask the question.
Yeah, exactly. And on top of all of that, what my husband and I walked away with was we had the power in the end, because with the power that we had, we chose to love instead of press charges. We chose to let go because we could have held on to that real tight and kept pushing. Mm-hmm. We chose to move forward and continue growing as a family and just watching out, and looking for signs. But my husband and I, obviously, I feel like at the end of every episode, I'm always going to say we became stronger, but we did. And our family became stronger, whether they knew what was happening or not. My love became so much stronger for those boys because of the sacrifice I made for them that they didn't even know I made.
Right.
It was just like a mother's intuition.
To protect them.
Yeah. So I feel like the lesson,
Hopefully you guys are all learning a lot of lessons.
Yeah. Everyone's learning. We're all learning and we're all growing. That was another case from our X-Files, because sometimes the scariest villains don't break into your house. They log into your life or log into websites.
See, you're so smart.
Thanks for tuning in to our X-Files. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe.
If you've got a wild story about your ex, we want to hear about it. Send us your anonymous submission through the link in our bio to be featured on a future episode.
The crazier, the better. And don't worry, your identity is safe with us. Until next time, keep those X-Files coming. Bye.